Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin Shearing coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And I am trying to pull the stream up on my tablet so I can see the chat since I have my phone oriented above the phone. There we go, finally got it. It wouldn't take my thumbnail, but maybe I can add that later. But what I have, I got to get past this ad. What I have is this French RCIR. It has the best before of January of 2025, so that means it was most likely packed in 2022. And I make a slight adjustment in my table position. Might have to fix my phone position as well. I think we'll go with that. This has ravioli and oriental salad for the 2 canned entrees. And it suggests that the oriental salad be eaten cold. I have no idea what is in there, but as you can tell by the green here, it may not be readable, but I'll bring it up. It says without pork on the English side and sans pork on the French side. It is in this plastic bag, and it looks like this box got beaten up a little bit in transit. The glare of the plastic kind of makes it a little harder to read anyway, so I have a plastic bag off to the side here that I'm going to be stuffing my trash in. So that's going to make a bit of noise, but there's a little bit of a staining on the bottom of the box, but I'm hoping that is more surface. And the way you open these up, you have these 2 pieces on the side. You pull them towards the center, and then that should release this, but look like that. Then there's supposed to be this slot here that if you don't use all of the ration, you can close it like that. So I'm going to take everything out of this box. So I'm just going to hold it off to the side. They pack these very efficiently, as you can tell. On the top here, MX3, muesli, it's breakfast, and it is chocolate and caramel in there. Then we have a little instant soup. Like an onion soup. And we have several bars in here. We have 72% cacao chocolate bar. Plum jam. And drink mix, this is I would have to look at this. And so this is lemon lime. It's not the one that usually has had a tea component in there. Then we have the hot drink pack. Set that there. Got a pack of tissues. Got the jelly. This is an energy bar, a banana flavored. We have the Army biscuits or biscuits de campagne. And this is the 3 flavor one. It's the cereal, the chocolate, and the salted. We have a different wrapping of the nougat bar. And then we have a coffee or mocha flavored energy bar. And finally, the fruit jelly bar, which is like blueberry raspberry. Got the reheating kit. Get to that in a bit. And we have it said milky dessert, but things can get substituted. So we got dates in here. So dates instead of milky dessert. So that's a different one. And then we have salmon pate. I think that's going to be good. And then the 2 entrees. Beef tortellini. Then the Oriental salad. And that one will have, I gotta put my extra eyeball on it. It looks like it has some kind of a meat in there. Got lentils, that I can tell. White beans. Got onions, that I can tell. Tomatoes, spices. Raisins. So just vegetables. I don't know the English translation of those, but this one is dented. It's probably why the bottom of the box fell a little. Yeah, this, you can tell this got beat up pretty bad. And it's starting to fall apart, so I may have to put the remainder of this in a bag. So I'm going to toss what I'm not going to use tonight back in the box. I'm going to save the salmon pate and the soup for next week. I'm going to put this muesli back in there. I will have the dates tonight. Now I'm going to open the accessory or drink pack. I wanted to make sure I didn't puncture the cocoa packet. Let's see, we check the chat here. We got prep for it. Got multi-magnum, burger butt, spicy tuna rolls. And it's not going to let me show any higher than that. Won't let me scroll back to see who else is here, but thank you all for dropping in. So here we got cocoa mix, salt and pepper in white packets, got sugar, 2 sugars in white packets, got black tea and green mint tea. And then we have 2 coffee packets. They are perforated so that I can separate them without ripping them. The sugar packets are also perforated, so I will separate those. They do not get creamer in this, but that's okay. I already got creamer from the kitchen. I will wait to open this. I'm going to go ahead and put that there. I'm going to open up my drink mix. Switch to my scissors. You only get 1 cold drink powder in these rations, so I'm sure the soldier in the field probably either has additional powders that they just bring, or they just drink plain water. It is an electrolyte drink. And it's going to be like a whitish. No color added. Yeah, my jam is next to my drinking jar. That's a good start mix. That little thing has creamer in it. Let's check out this coffee. It is a freeze-dried coffee. I'm using my my Kreischer mug tonight just for the heck of it. Then the sugar. It's 5 grams. Maybe a coarse grind or just somewhat vacuum sealed. All the sugar went in. That is a coarser grind of sugar than what we're used to. In goes my creamer. Now I'm going to take this into the kitchen and put this in the water to start heating that up, and then I'll bring back the kettle for my coffee. I am back. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to open up this box of biscuits. Well, that was a bit of a ripper. I'm going to separate these by type. These are the chocolate chip, So there are 3 packs of those, 2 of the cereal, and 3 of the salted. So they look a little bit different. The cereal ones are a little bit whiter, whereas the salted ones are a little bit, they look closer to your typical salted biscuit or cracker. They look about the same color as those Ukrainian biscuits I pulled out when I did my mail call and opened up that Ukrainian ration that had some tape on it. That's a repeat. I got 2 of the same menu. So I'm going to have 1 of the cereal biscuits and 1 of the chocolate ones for my jam. And I'll put the rest of that back in the box. So all these bars, I'm just going to, again, lay them all out. These are the 2 energy bars. It says Combat Fuel. This is the mocha. It's the banana. Then we've got the nougat with fruit. The blueberry and raspberry jelly bar. And the 72% cacao chocolate bar. So those are all the bars in here. I'm going to have the jelly bar and try the banana and the nougat bar. The mocha and the chocolate bars are going to go back into the ration box. Now I'll open up this reheating kit. I'm not going to obviously use any of it, but I want to show you what is included. The foldable Espeet style stove plate. Very similar to what you get from a Spanish ration. This one is actually branded SRD, which is the company that makes these. You get 6 oval fuel tablets. Oh, dropped the box. Darn it. Sorry about that. So as I show each thing, I'm going to put it back into the box. So the 6 fuel tablets. Something very unique in these rations. You get a set of toothpicks. There's 6 of them in there. Looks like a little matchbook. These can easily go in the pocket. Get 6 water purification tablets. These are the Oasis brand. 1 tablet treats 1 liter of water. This is the grab handle for the oval cans. If you're using Yespit stove, you can use this to hook onto the edge of the can and you pick it up. Very handy little thing to have. Get trash bag. And inside of a little Ziploc bag you get a box of matches, one side with the Arc de Triomphe and the other side with the Eiffel Tower. So that's a very, very neat little... These used to come with a baby spork that was so ridiculously small that you couldn't expect a person in the field to use it, so French soldiers usually have their own cutlery that they take everywhere. Open up the dates. Again, the box said milky dessert, but they must have been out of them. So I am very happy with dates. I love dates. So I'll put the date can in my trash bag. They're a little sticky, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to open up these bars. These nougat bars have a rice paper on the side. Because they can be a bit sticky. That one actually feels a bit hard. These Combat Fuel bars are a new one to me. I've had other brands of these bars. I don't get a whole lot of banana smell off of that, but maybe I'll taste it when I bite into it. These jelly bars are always a hit. Very dark. Almost as dark as the, probably darker in color than the dates. Yep, I think I forgot to get a pack of the salted biscuit out for the, yeah, I wanted a pack of the salted biscuits for the jam. That's what I was going to do, and I just did. I put that one back in the box. So before I open up those, I'm going to go ahead and get my tortellini from the kitchen. There it is. I'm going to dry this off with the paper towel that I brought in. I wanted to get that initial pull. There's your first look at the tortellinis. Oh, that just popped off, but that's okay. I'll use a paper towel to grip it to pull it the rest of the way off. Actually, I could just do this. Go ahead and upend that. Can's cooled off enough where I can I'm just looking at the chat to see what's being said. Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a while since I've had one. This one was sent to me last year. going to go ahead and open up these are the salted biscuits. The other salted biscuits I'm going to save for the soup. Now I'm opening up the cereal biscuits. And one broke, but that's okay. These tortellinis are a little bit bigger than what you'll get in a US MRE. And these are beef filled. I'm going to see if I can cut one open. There's also cheese in there. And there's a bit of meat in the sauce. It's more like a marinara. It's not sweet. You can definitely pick up on the herbs in there. Really nice sauce. I'm going to give my lemon lime drink another mix. These are supposed to be in a 500 ml water bottle, but my drinking jar is maxed out at 13 ounces, so that 500 ml bottle is 16.9 ounces. I'm going to go ahead and get a taste of it as it is. That's a bit of a sweet and salty, since it is an electrolyte drink. I'm not getting a whole lot of the lemon lime flavor, so I'm not going to add any more water to that. I'm going to leave that as is. Yeah, these tortellinis are high class. The US tortellinis, they're about the size of these dates, except round. And the sauce needs some serious help. That's why I was putting cheese on my emery tortellinis. These are just fine as they are. I'm happy with them. Have a drink of my coffee. I got some tortellini sauce there. I'd rescue that. I'm going to have a bite of the cereal biscuit. These can go a bit stale, and this one is, yeah, this one has gone stale. Take a bite of those. These have never really been too salty, but they're more savory. Waffles in the house, thanks for dropping in. It's a RCIR menu 5, I believe 2020 or 2022. I'm actually going to look on this biscuit box to see if there's a pack date. It just has a best buy date. 10/3 of 25. I'm going to try the muesli bag. See if I can get anything. Nope, this one just has a best buy date on it as well. It has a lot code and a pack date. So that's all that has. Now these are dates here. The box said milky dessert, but apparently the ration packer ran out of that. So they had some cans of dates and decided to stick that in a box. I'm going to try this plum jam on the salty biscuit. That definitely covers up the stale taste. When these biscuits or crackers are fresh, they're crunchier. But as they age, they kind of lose their crunch. I'm going to try it on this piece of the cereal one, which definitely tastes old. See if that makes a difference. That does cover up that old taste of the cereal biscuits. They probably are more apt to go bad first before the salty ones. I'm not getting a funky feeling in my mouth, which is good. I'm gonna go ahead and eat one of these dates. These are pitted dates, by the way. They're very soft. They're coated with something. Eventually I will get some C-cars, but from others who have gotten a case of them or have looked what's available online. There are only 3 menus unless that has been expanded since they were first released. Maybe if someone gets a case and then passes them around, that could work. Yeah, I like those dates. But I think it would be better without whatever they put on them. Yeah, potassium sorbate. They're the Deglet Nor variety, and they were imported from Algeria. Sorry about the noise. The date can hit the tortellini can, so sorry about that. These dates originated from Algeria. I'm going to put some more of this jam on the salted, this biscuit here. Yeah, dates are more brown. These happen to be very, very dark, probably because of the way they were processed. Sometimes you can get dates that look like that. I even see them similarly done when I go to Hillel Groceries. But when I go to buy dates for myself, I just prefer the ones that have nothing on them. But I can understand that for longer term storage, they may want something on them when they go into the can. I would love to have a whole lot more of that tortellini. But it would be good with some parm on it, but for tonight, they're going to stay as they are. I'm going to try a bite of this banana energy bar. I get more of the banana flavor when I bite into it. The bottom looks kind of smooth, but on the top you can see that is crisp rice plus whatever else they put in there. But that bar is perfectly fine. It's nice to see that they're using different flavors in these bars. I think I got some, no, maybe not. That is definitely harder. A lot harder to bite into than those bars used to be. I can definitely taste the fruit, and I do not get that paint smell off of those. But it's got good flavor. It's just a lot harder to bite into than the nougat bars I knew from the past. But the fruit flavor is definitely more prominent in those, which is nice. Tim Riley in the house, thanks for dropping in. He did his Emery walking taco with a couple of bags of Doritos. And he used the beef taco filling and the beans and rice entrees. Plus he added some lettuce and cheese from his kitchen. But he stayed on for quite some time. I kicked out a bit early. But, you know, when I was ready to get out of my browser on my tablet to go to bed, he was still on. Yeah, I'm having the French beef tortellini. There's some beef inside as well as some beef bits in the sauce. This stuff beats the U.S. tortellini by a long shot. This one needs nothing to it, although someone may want to add some red pepper flake or maybe a bit of chili powder. A little something spicy, but on its own, these are very, very good. I would get this again. You got dates here. This is a banana energy bar. The nougat bar, which is a bit hard, but very flavorful. This is the blueberry raspberry jelly bar. I first get the blueberry, then the raspberry comes through. But if I was a soldier in the field and I had that, I would be a happy camper to get it. This is the lemon lime electrolyte drink. Got creamer from my kitchen in the coffee. You don't get creamer in a French ration. But the coffee's not bad. It's better than some other ration coffees. I got a salty biscuit, which is really not all that salty, but it's more savory. And the cereal biscuits, which taste more stale than the salty one. But the plum jam does cover up that stale taste. It's still edible though, just not up there with the salty one. Yeah, he got a late start. I wasn't sure if he was going to go on at all. I wasn't even looking for him to go on, and I did see him live after I got done watching another video that he was on, so I dropped in. These dates are a very good substitution for the milky dessert that was originally supposed to be in here. But other than that, everything else in this ration meets the list that's on the outside of the box. Prepper for the Ages has dropped in. Thanks for dropping in. Good to see you here. I am having the beef tortellini from this 2022 pack RCIR. I would like to have double of this. These are so good. The company that made this, they know what they're doing. And the way that Oriental salad looks, I am very intrigued by that. So I got dates here. The blueberry raspberry jelly bar, the banana energy bar, the nougat bar, which is more flavorful but a lot harder to bite into and chew than they have in the past. So it may be a different company that makes it. They may be using a different recipe. This plum jam, this Andros brand, you can't go wrong with this stuff. Could use more of it though. You only get one cold drink powder in this 24-hour ration, so next week I'll pull one out of my stash. I may pull one of those German iced teas. I got a lemon and an orange. I may go with one of those next week. Or I could have one of the other drink powders and then have a hot tea. But I've had those teas before. They're pretty decent. I haven't decided yet. I'll think about that for next week. Probably put a little too much. So just do it that way. And this lemon lime isotonic drink, although I mixed it strong, I'm not getting a whole lot of the lemon lime flavor. I'm getting more of the sweet and the electrolyte salty flavor. But it's still a decent drink. I mean, if you're very active, and especially on a hot day, you probably knock that down in a few seconds. That plum jam does cover up the old taste of the cereal biscuits. Thanks for dropping in, John. Hope to see you another time. Next Sunday, we will attempt to do what we wanted to do last Sunday, which was the actual Mother's Day. And I was going to give my great niece her birthday present, but because Mom was sick, we decided to hold off for 2 weeks. So in the afternoon, we hope to be hanging out with Mom. So belated Mother's Day, and a definitely late birthday for my great niece, but it is what it is. So I got their presents wrapped up, My mom likes Dunkin' Donuts coffee, so I bought her a 12-pack of the K-Cups for her Keurig. And my great niece is getting the Dubai chocolate pistachio cones. I can say this on here because they don't know I do YouTube, so but that's what I got for them. I'm only doing 2 meals out of this because, just as a general rule, I don't typically do breakfast reviews. I have done a couple of the mueslis or oatmeals out of the older rations like the RCW. I did open up that one, and that one was actually pretty darn good. CR is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Sorry I didn't get the thumbnail on this one, but I don't know if I can add it later after this goes to replay. But this is 2022 pack menu 5 RCIR, the beef tortellini. I highly recommend it. Wilcox is in the house. That's perfectly fine. You're here. You're enjoying it. I wish I had enough to share with you all, but don't have that technology, dang it. I wish I had 2 of these cans. I would be eating both of them. I got plum jam, cereal biscuit. They taste stale, but they're not rancid. But I suppose in a few months' time they probably would be that way. But so that's what this one is. Actually, I can turn it over for a little bit and the jam won't run. And one of those salty biscuits, I actually have the 2 packs. They come in this box. That's my weather radio going off. So salty biscuits. I'll just talk over that thing. Got 2 more of these. There's 2 packs. Cereal. Got 1 more of those, so there's only 2 pairs of those, and then 3 pairs of the chocolate chip. I just pulled 2 of them out, but that's a 3rd one. Storm watch, that's what my weather radio is saying. Oops, sorry about that. Didn't mean to bang it that hard. Yeah, I'm seeing I got a bit of a delay, so I apologize for that. But I was putting the biscuit box back in the ration box. Yeah, we were supposed to have storms yesterday, but it was windy. It was all blow, no show. We didn't have any rain till this morning, at least on my street. There were bits of tree branches all over the ground out here, not really big ones. Even had a couple of them land on my deck. But nothing got blown around other than maybe a few bits of trash, but not too bad. Yeah, yeah, I couldn't even hear the rain this morning. Yeah, I have my tower fan in my bedroom going, plus my AC is running. Sorry, it takes me a while to chew this bite, but it actually broke. Now, we're supposed to get strong storms tomorrow. My short I put up yesterday, when I thought we were going to get a bad storm, it did get fairly dark. But when I also put it up on Facebook as a reel, but someone commented and I just wrote a reply, I'll blow no show. Yeah. Ryan Hall, y'all, that channel is live. I believe he's still live. But he was live for several hours yesterday and last night. I didn't watch it a whole lot, but I dropped in for a little bit. I haven't watched his channel yet today, but I saw his X posts, and then I've also took a look at a local TV channel's weather for a bit, plus the weather app on my phone. But my weather radio did not sound any alarms at all yesterday. I thought it would, but it never did. But I'm pretty sure you heard it with that storm watch. Yeah, I've been hearing that as well. Space Weather News, formerly Suspicious Observers, he has mentioned the El Nino and what it could be like. It's not a certainty of how big the area is going to be spread and how bad the effects will be, but it could be a normal or it could be a bad one. We just don't know yet. So yeah, my power did blink for about half a second yesterday. It sometimes messes up my clock radio I got in my bedroom. It has a battery backup, but I think that battery in it, it's pretty old. I don't know if I could find a replacement battery for it. It also has a corded phone, but because I don't have a landline, I don't use it, and that cord that goes from the radio to the phone itself, that's packed away. I just use it for the radio. But the phone battery, and it really doesn't hold a charge anymore, so like I said, I just use it for the radio, but I've had to play with it a little bit. It just messed with the volume level, so I was able to get that reset to where it's supposed to be. Of course, it also depends on the part of the country or the world you're in, on how bad the El Nino effect may be. It could give a few people a bad time, or it could mess with several countries all at once. Yeah, there are some specialized batteries for different devices, and the cordless phone batteries used to be, it looked like 2 or 3 smaller cells wrapped up to make one combined battery. They're probably wired in series, but you would have to replace that battery pack. And for previous cordless phones I've had, when I did have a landline, I would have to do that occasionally because it just wouldn't hold a charge. But because this one is, I probably had it about 15 years. If not longer than that. Thanks for dropping in, Waffles. Hope to see you another time. Next week, I'm going to do the soup. And Oriental salad, since it is, normally I would heat both of the entree cans. Even the ones with the tuna or salmon, I would want those warm, even if it's a salad on it. I think this time I will actually eat it cold, and I may even put it in the fridge. So it is literally cold. So I will pick cold drink powder from my stash. Most likely from the German ration I did last week. Got lots of drink powders from that, so I may go for one of those. Of course, anything that I don't use from the ration will get stashed away. Like, I like to save these mueslis for trips. So this chocolate and caramel, it almost sounds like a dessert. But all the things in this reheating kit I will stash away. I got a place where I put these matches. I got a place where I put the fuel tabs and the stove plates. And these little trash bags are very good for my get home bag or a bug out bag or an EDC bag. You know, the little toothpicks. You know, the water purification tablets are definitely a good thing to have. And those pocket tissues, that pack. So I have quite a few of those in my collection. So I save all those I get from rations. Yeah, my air conditioner cycles on and off just like it does when I got it in heat mode. actually turned it on last week. Of course, if I had a dog, I could also use it as a crap bag. Yeah, if I did what no one else around here does, pick up after their dog. At these little match boxes, you actually get quite a few matches in here. I like the fact that they're put in a little Ziploc bag to keep them dry. So they had some of these in. Someone is. I got my slider shut because I got my air conditioner on, but it sounded like someone had a megaphone or something really loud. But red tip wood stick matches. Allumette. I hope I don't get a copyright strike on for that noise. Yeah. SRD Lumi France. And of course on this side the Arc de Triomphe. Got one striker side. But get a good number of matches in that box, which is more than what you get in some other rations where you may only get 5 or 6. But those are usually the storm matches or the waterproof ones. Usually they have an expiration date. I had some old German ones that were in that 1989 emergency ration in the green box that had some compressed food bars and a couple of the instant teas. But I sent the one that I opened, I actually drank one of those teas and it was really, really good. But I sent that one and the unopened one to Sean for the Ration Museum. But I never got a replacement for myself because I would do that to get those teas, but had 4 water purification tablets. But because I've never actually had to use those, because I have never been under a boil order since 1993. Welcome, Havoso. If you see a cat running, well, I don't have a whole lot of visual space to the left of my table because of the way I got it set up, but my torty girl is probably sleeping in the bedroom, or she'll sleep on my towel stack in the bed in the bathroom. But the kitty that you see in my logo, my profile picture, is my previous cat I had for 18 and a half years before she crossed the Rainbow Bridge. And I just never bothered to change it because I don't want to. Mila's face is just too special. She is one very special cat. And there are other YouTubers who have lost a pet that they used as their profile picture, but they keep that as their profile picture channel logo instead of changing it because that particular pet is just too special, or was just too special. Yeah, she does sleep a lot, but she also likes to be awake at night. You know, I guess that's typical for a cat. That's just her thing. I'm gonna eat another date. Yeah, when I did laundry yesterday, I used my purple roller suitcase that has now been demoted to laundry hauler only because I got a replacement grocery hauler that was gifted to me. But I pull my laundry out of that thing and I lay it out on the bed. And then I go get the other load because I ran 2 dryers yesterday. Yeah, I washed 2 loads. But she will lay on that pile of warm clothes that I just taken out of the dryer. Even if it's a hot day, she will do that. I guess it's a comfort thing for her. She will not do anything but just lay on it. I guess Mila used to do that as well. But only in the winter she would do that, not in the summer. But Pumpkin does it any time of year. She don't care. I did a little Google searching on it just out of curiosity. And the AI says it's like a security thing. It's a comfort thing for a cat to do that. And my cat will sit in a sink hoping that I would turn the faucet on so she could drink from it. But she has to use her paw. So get her paw wet, let her paw get wet, and then she will, you know, the water flows onto her paw, then she will lick it off of her paw. Even when she goes to drink out of her bowl, she'll dip her paw in and then lick the water off. I have some videos of her doing that out of her bowl and drinking from the faucet. She will even get in the tub and sit in the tub. And but after I take a shower, she has managed to figure out how to get a few drops of water to come out of the tub faucet. But other times she'll just get in the tub and thinking I'm going to turn the water on, but I don't do that for her all the time. The guy I got her from told me that is what she would prefer to do. She just developed this preference for drinking from a faucet. It's just running as just enough to get a steady stream going instead of a drip. That's what she likes. I've never had a ferret. I knew someone many, many years ago when I was a kid who had a ferret, but that ferret was not brought out for us. We could look at it in its cage. Darn it. Last bit of that goodness. Or as germs would say, last bite of that deliciousness. That tortellini was something I would actually order in a restaurant. Well, I just now ate a date, and on my tablet I'm seeing my hand putting my drinking jar back down on the table. So I do have a bit of a lag between my phone and my tablet screen. Sometimes that lag can be worse than others. but at least I'm still going. So that's another reason why I like to have the stream up on my tablet besides reading the chat, is I like to check for any kind of lag or any issues like that I may not see if I stand up and look at my phone screen. I think these days would taste better if they didn't put that sorbate stuff on there. Yeah, I don't mind a little bit of that, but if it gets really bad, then I get concerned. And I do end up looking up at my phone screen to see if everything looks good there. Now, I got Pumpkin when she was 2 years old, so I don't know exactly when she was born. I know approximately when Mila was born because I got her at 5 weeks old. At the beginning of November of 2004. Or like the first weekend of November's when I got her, shortly after I moved into my previous place. Is where I lived before that. Management, there are so many manager changes, and they kept going back and forth on whether pets would be allowed or not allowed. So I just never bothered to get a pet then. But when I was contacted about getting a cat, I said, well, I'm about ready to move, so I can have a cat in a new place, but only one. She wanted to give me a pair, but I said, I can only have one pet. So she did have little 5-week-old Mila. I named her Mila. She did have a name when I got her. But someone had put Frontline on her 2 weeks prior to me getting her. So that messed her up. So I got her treated for that. And I got medicine for a respiratory infection, which she got. So after that, once all that cleared up, then the spunk and personality came out of her big time. But she stayed small. She never got to be a big cat. No more than 7 pounds. Pumpkin is probably like 15. So with Mila, I was able to get her a bit more trained. Whereas Pumpkin, it's a little more difficult. She's got a completely different personality. But I call her my sweetie girl. Florizy, thanks for dropping in. I've never seen your name before, so welcome. I'll close up the ration box. So I ate the beef tortellini. The box says milky dessert, but the ration packer did not have any of that on hand, so I got these dates. These are pitted dates, Deglet Nord dates, and I finished off my banana energy bar. This is a fruit nougat bar, but it's very hard, different from what they used to be in the past. And this is one bite left of the blueberry raspberry jelly bar. Those are very, very good. I ate the plum jam on one pair of the salty biscuits and one pair of the cereal biscuits, but those tasted a little bit more stale. They weren't rancid, but the plum jam definitely helped those out. I have all 3 pairs of the chocolate chip ones left in the biscuit box. And next week I will eat the Oriental salad, the soup, and I'll use the other 2 pairs of the salty biscuits with the soup. I will have, there's a mocha energy bar, there's a chocolate bar, 72% cacao chocolate bar. That is going to be so good. I will have a different hot drink, probably one of the teas. This only has 1 cold drink powder, so this is a lemon lime isotonic, or electrolyte. So I will pull a drink powder from my stash. And there is a salmon pate in the box, so I will eat that next week. That's a good one, Tim. That's a good one. Oh, I do turn on a laser for Pumpkin. She gets interested in it for a while, but only for a few minutes, and then she's off on something else. Yeah, I don't tell people I own a cat. I tell them I am owned by a cat. I should have a mug that says cat servant. And I've seen this online a number of times. Dogs have owners, cats have staff. Yeah, my younger nephew had one for a time, but he is mostly into reptiles. He is a licensed breeder of reptiles. Mostly corn snakes and geckos. He occasionally might have another lizard or other types of snakes, but mostly corn snakes and geckos. But I think he took in a tarantula from some other person, and I don't know if it died or he just took this tarantula temporarily before passing it on to someone else. I haven't been inside his house for quite some time, so, and I haven't asked him about it for a while. But he also raises the mice that he feeds his snakes and the crickets that he feeds the geckos. So he actually breeds their food animals. And then if people buy a snake or gecko from him, they also may buy some of their the frozen mice or maybe little the crickets in a little box. I don't know how he handles that, but that's what he does. That's probably a pretty good one if people like to have what they call ant farms. They watch the ants that build underground nests, kind of like the reverse of a termite mound. I have seen on TV shows, like on the Discovery Channel in the past, where someone goes to a place where a huge ant colony is that the property owner wants to get rid of because they could be a problem species. I don't know, but what these guys do is they pour something into the ant colony in their entrance hole, and it hardens like a cement, and then they dig that out without breaking these structures that form from this stuff that they pour in, and it looks like the branches of a tree upside down, the way those are all spread out. And then they take those, scientists likes to study those structures. Yeah, you'd think they would attract bees, but maybe if you try putting coffee grounds around the base of your sunflowers, those are supposed to deter ants. I don't know if the coffee grounds would affect the sunflowers, but supposedly they're an ant deterrent, and people would put coffee grounds around their house to try to, or at least by the entrances, to try to keep ants from getting in. Unfortunately, I can't grow sunflowers here because I don't get enough sun. And most varieties of sunflowers would grow higher than my vertical space on my deck because I got one above me. There's an apartment above me, so I don't have, I got a ceiling over my head, so to speak. But then the top floor, you know, the roof extends over those decks, so sunflowers really don't work. Plus, in this building, I face north, so I don't get a whole lot of sun, anyways. Unfortunately. And if you have several sunflowers, you could save some of the seeds to plant the next year. But then you could have some of those sunflowers to roast and eat. Or the seeds, that is. No, I haven't tried to plant sunflowers. I tried a few other flowers. I tried marigolds. The seeds didn't germinate. Then I tried nasturtiums. They didn't germinate. My borage didn't do so good this year. I got a few flowers and I managed to pick off some of the seeds last year or the year before. But this past summer, this past year, not so much. And I tried pink dandelion. Those didn't germinate either. I might have some issues with what's in my soil, which is by now mostly compost. There is some commercially produced potting soil in there, but last year I didn't buy any. The year before I had rescued some that otherwise would have been tossed. But then I just mixed compost with it. Actually, I think last year I did rescue one bag. I was like half full of a manufactured garden soil or potting soil, but I mixed that with compost. So I was buying the pre-bagged soil until I got enough compost created, so I don't buy it anymore. In fact, my main bin is completely full, and my green 5-gallon bucket is nearly there. Chives, I only got a few, and the few that I got, I air dried them, and they are now in a spice jar. Some, I'm not sure if what some of the ingredients in some of those pre-manufactured mixes that I got, whether they have perlite or vermiculite in them, I don't remember. But I do crush, I break up eggshells and I mix that in. And I have, any fruit or veggie scrap, like onions, banana peels, orange peels, apple cores minus the seeds, uh, pear core minus the seeds, potato peelings, onion skins, stuff like like bell pepper scrap minus the seeds. I put all that in there in addition to the spent coffee grounds, spent tea. Like I brew tea, I open up the tea bags and I add that. I have a little bucket under my sink, and then when that gets full, I empty that out into the bin or the bucket on my deck. Yeah, I could go ahead and plant some, but because I don't get very much sun, a little bit in the morning, but it's filtered through a tree, and there is a house to the east end of the property on the other side of the exit driveway. I'm at the end of the building. But then through the middle of the day, nothing, because I'm on the north side. And I get a little in the evening. Again, it's filtered through trees. There is a building to the west on the other side of the street, plus the partition that separates my half of the deck from my neighbor's half. And that's not usually till like about an hour before sunset. But that's all I get for sun exposure. Now, several years ago, I tried to use a solar panel to charge up one of my small power stations. I was probably only getting maybe 2 to 3 watts. It took days and days to raise up one level, say like up to the mini power station I tried only has those little bars to show like 25%, 50, 75%, or 100% charge. It would take like several days just to go up one bar. So now forget this. This is not going to work. I don't get enough sun to use my solar panel on my deck. I'd have to go into the driveway or into the park across the street. Yeah. bite of that nougat bar. Now, I don't have seeds for those, and I've never heard of parilla. I want to pronounce the word parilla because it looks like a Spanish word to me, but I'm sure it's just parilla. I've never heard of that one, so I don't know what that is. I've heard of purslane. I've heard of lamb's quarters. Some people don't want that one around. But purslane is a good one, but I probably need full sun for all of those. I have seeds for like arugula, kale, chard, spinach. I tried garden cress, but I get other stuff popping out of the pots that don't look like what they're supposed to be, so I probably have gotten seeds blown in from the wind, the wind blowing seeds from somewhere else. And if I don't see it, then I may end up getting something other than what I want, like a tree. I do get some seed stalks or seed heads that blow in. I get rid of those as soon as I see them. And then I see seeds, it looks like an elongated, just a leaf with a seed in the middle. I get rid of those. Those are the ones that I can see, but if there are any others that I cannot see, I may end up with that, but I try to get rid of as many of those that I can see, because I don't want a tree growing on my deck. Yeah, if you want something like that, you would have to grow it in a pot. Yeah, I can do okay with mints. And last year, my basil didn't do as well as it did before. I tried it in a different place. I may have to put it back, go back to where I originally had it. And I've tried oregano. I've tried other herbs like thyme and sage. I tried dill, mustard. I tried cilantro. Those types of herbs, but it's hard. it's hard for me to get stuff to go, but I still try. Someone had sent me some moringa seeds. I actually planted them in my green bucket, but then we got a huge storm and it just filled that bucket. It just flooded it, so the one moringa seed that did germinate, it just got flooded out, so it was a goner. That was an unusual storm. That was 2 years ago. But then the year before that, my apartment, well, actually in 24, the spring of 24, I did not plant anything. Actually, I tried the moringa back in 23. But in 24, my apartment got flooded by some idiot who used to live above me. And I had to have stuff put out on my deck. And it was during the last third of Ramadan. So I was at the mosque all the time. Quite a few hours in a day. But I had actually spent Sunday night in the mosque because someone was needed to set up for the very, very early breakfast that was served before the morning prayer time, before first light. So I was setting that up and helping just kind of helping out the cook who was actually cooking the food. But I come back Monday morning, when I could take a bus to come back home so I could take a shower and change clothes, and the apartment manager or the maintenance guy was there saying, I've been looking for you. So I told him I'd spent the whole night in the mosque. So what's up? Am I in trouble? He said, well, you got a big mess. So someone had reported, the person below me at the time, that apartment got affected. So apparently that person had reported it. So I go in there, oh yeah, it's a mess. So maintenance guy got a cleaning crew in. I said, just, put stuff on my deck, put it in my bathroom, put it in my bedroom. Just whatever, because I gotta be at the mosque for, So they did that. So I was just washing up at the sink while I had stuff in my tub while they superheated my apartment and ran water extraction machines to try to suck the water out of the carpet and the pad. Yeah, I was not comfortable for my cat because it was so hot. My instead of having the air conditioner on in here, the heater, it was in heat mode, turned up to max, because they wanted heat to help dry it out. And so my drywall had to be replaced in here because of mold. So yeah, that took some time to get that mess straightened out. So by the time I could have everything put back in here, everything was just placed haphazardly. They just wanted to get it all in here and get it done. So my apartment hasn't really been the same since. But yeah, that was and for 2 nights, I had to have more stuff moved out of the way, so to just put it, just I put stuff on my bed, they put stuff in my bedroom, so I had to use my Eid gift money that I was given in 24 at the end of Ramadan. I used that for a couple of nights in a hotel, just so I could have a place to sleep and take a shower. So in 24, I did not plant anything whatsoever. I couldn't get to my pots. One of my coffee containers that I store I had a bag of plant food, organic plant food. That is still buried somewhere where I can't get to it. So I couldn't. It was just too late to really start planting anything, especially the cooler weather. Things like the greens and some of the herbs, I just didn't bother with it. And of course, it got pretty hot in 24, and we had some bad storms. So last year I tried a few different arrangements, and well, I still haven't gotten anything. I don't have any seeds in yet, but I think after this next few nights of low temps in the 40s Fahrenheit, I should be able to get them in. I don't have citric acid, and I have no idea what Ivor means. I had never considered buying anything. I mean, I had a bag of a fertilizer from my gardener called Sassy Lass, but it went to the moss. Last year, we planted flowers in the front, of the building and around where the picnic tables are. So I took it there and it just stayed there. And then I just left it there. So we used it again. This year we planted some annuals and some perennials. Yeah, just flowers. No herbs. Although I had considered sneaking a few herb seeds in there, but I didn't. Although I am curious what would happen if I had if I sprinkled some of my pink dandelion seeds in the yard in front of this building, my apartment building, that is. But the flower on the packet, the pink dandelion packet, looks really cool. That's why I wanted to try it. But the seeds just didn't germinate, so I don't know if there's something wrong with what I got in my pots. For most of them, it's just all compost. I don't have any soil test kit, so I have no idea what is all in there. I know I do get a lot of bird poop because birds love to hang out on my deck as well as the trees. So I don't know if that is affecting it. Or what's going on. So I would love to know, but right now I don't have any way of doing that because I don't have anything for soil testing. I do not have worms. Although if I really wanted to, I probably could go to Walmart, buy a cup of the fishing worms and put those in my compost. Maybe one in each pot, or two in my two biggest ones. But I don't know how well they would do if I tried that. I suppose it could be worth experimenting. I think that might have been thunder I heard. I am going to grab this. I am going to update the weather. This weather app takes a long time to reload. And it doesn't look like rain till after 11 p.m. 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Tornado watch. You have to excuse the ads in there. I hope I don't get copyright for those ads showing up. Actually, this changed to no storm till 1 a.m. But who knows what it could actually do. Could be all blow no show. Don't have a nettle here. But with nettle, if you pick the leaves young, when they're not fully formed, you don't get that stinging hair on it. And if it is, you can pretty much get rid of it. And you can, really young, they don't have any of those hair-like things on the leaves. You can cook them like any other leafy green, or you can just put them in hot water, brew it like a tea. You can do that with nettle. It is actually a medicinal plant, but you have to get it when you have to take the leaves when they're really young. They're not, they got their full shape, but they're not fully matured with all those hair-like things all over them. But I actually had nettle tea when I was taking an herbalism class several years ago. And the woman who taught the class made nettle tea and served it to all of us. Yeah, of course you want to wash it and make sure you got any dirt off of it or any other stuff. We actually had lunch at the end of the class, but never did actually eat any nettles. We just drank the nettle tea. But usually it was mixed with one or two other herbs just to add a little bit more flavor to it. But one time we did have just the straight up nettle tea. But I can't remember what it tastes like because it's probably been about 10 years. Unfortunately, people were dropping out, and the teacher was coming from about 100 miles away every other week to do it. But it just no longer was worth her time when several people had dropped out. And we weren't paying her to do it. We weren't paying her to come. But that shop had also closed several years ago. Yeah, the woman who ran that herbal shop was already up in her years, but I don't think anyone took it over after she retired. I think it just closed up. Now something else is in the building. So we don't have, at least where I can get to, we don't have any more herbal shops here that I know of. There may be one, but I don't know where it's at. Yeah. Yep, that's why I said you can eat nettles. I have 2 herbal medicine books, and they both have pages on when to collect the nettle leaves, how to process them, how to make medicines out of those and so many other plants, not all of them available here in Iowa. But I have an Iowa foraging book. It's a wild edibles book that's specific for Iowa, so it would have some of those plants because we do have nettles here. They're just not where I'm at. Yeah, I'm in the middle of the city, so I don't get to go a lot of places because I don't drive, and I can't take buses anywhere I want to go. One thing I like about some of these drink mixes, don't leave any residue in the drinking jar. Since that one didn't have any color in it. Yeah, I would love to go foraging, but I would have to have someone with me, not only to take me to the location, but to have a better pair of eyes for looking at things. Several years ago, I was with TAC of AOK Foraging and Adventures. She is a local here. And we were walking through one of the parks, and we found gooseberries. So she would point the things out, and the gooseberries were just a little bit underripe, but we still sampled them anyway. But she had a giveaway, and I won that giveaway, and that's how I got the Iowa foraging book. Plus, she gave me a couple of bottles, couple of pint jars of her homemade kimchi. I ate one of those that day. I just couldn't hold on to it, that one jar, for too long. So, yeah, I had to get into it that day. But she likes to forage. She likes to study that stuff. She's learning how to make herbal medicines and things like that. Oh yeah, that could work. If I had some sprouts, yeah, I can make that work. Sprouts are kind of like sardines. I got them out of Polish rations. I'm not sure if that has an equivalent English word. I just use the Polish word sprat to refer to those. But I think a sprout pate would be pretty good. I probably want a little pepper in there though. Yeah, I think the last time I actually caught a bluegill was 3 years ago. And it was too small to keep, so it had to go back into the lake. At Lake Icaria. I used to try to fish the river down here, but there was so much junk in the water. I was trying some of my artificial lures, and I would get snagged up, and I just ended up busting the line. So there are a few of my lures at the bottom of the river. But with the nitrate level so high, I will not fish the river. And I don't see very many people fishing the river in the downtown area by the bridges that are in between Grand Avenue and Court Avenue. Where that area known as East Village is. Yeah, south of the Botanical Center, but yeah. And north of the police station. You know, the main police station. And nobody fishes around there. The water levels have changed so much over the past few years, it just go up and down. It just got to, I don't know, maybe the city made it illegal to fish off the river bridges. People were doing that, but others would be along the bank. But I don't see anybody doing that anymore. But I won't do it because of all the crap that's in the water. I'd rather fish in a lake. So the only place I fish is Lake Icaria. But the last couple of years of fishing there has been pretty bad. Year before last, we had some really, really strong winds that destroyed the canopy we had that we put over the picnic tables in front of one of the cabins that we rent. Another group lost their canopy that was destroyed. It's literally pulled out, and the wind just threw it several yards away. And just trashed them. So then one of my sisters got a cheapo one from Walmart. It was bent. It was poorly made. one of the little loops that you put around the frame when you're putting the tarp cover on. It came off right in my hand as I was trying to fasten it. And it came with really cheap crap stakes that are nowhere near good enough to hold it down in a moderate wind. So when another high wind came up, we took it down, and it was a struggle to get it down because the wind was trying to take it and the poles were already bent. And I had to, I was sitting next to my mom, and it started to collapse, and I just reached up and grabbed the frame so it wouldn't bonk her on the head. So my sister took that back to Walmart and said, "This is defective." We couldn't hardly, we had struggle getting it up, and so she got a refund. Then last year we got a better quality one. I just finished off the coffee. But we had all the wildfire smoke last year. And then there were a couple of days it was extremely hot. There was just something not right about the fishing conditions, so I didn't catch a single thing. I had my bait stolen. By the little gang of thieves that like to hang out around at the water's edge. But we're going back again in July. Now we've already got the 2 cabins rented that we always use. We're still booking 2 years in advance. We go to Lake RCIR outside of Corning, Iowa, because my late dad grew up in that area. So a few years after he died, my mom paid the county a certain amount of money to have his name put on one of the memorial benches that surround the lake. And each year they add a few more benches. And then the county parks department maintains those. It's not only a way for people to memorialize someone, but it also provides extra seating around the lake. So I'll go to one of those. I'll put my pole holder in the ground. I will put my line in and hope I get something. But even when I don't catch anything, I'm still having a good time. It's one of the few times I get to get out of the city. The only other time is when I go to Jester Park for the White Eagle Multicultural Powwow, which I'm on the organizing committee for. I joined it the night I donated a wagon to them for hauling stuff around the campgrounds, or when loading and unloading vehicles from the storage shed that we use to store all of the supplies and the teepees and poles and other things like that we set up for seating. You know, for the powwow we have, you know, we'll store craft supplies there, you know, other things like that. Yeah, they got the wagon because Amazon screwed up and I ended up with two, and they said I can keep the second one. But I don't need two wagons, I only wanted one, so I keep one for myself and one for powwow use, and I wrote S all over mine to distinguish mine from the powwow committee's wagon, because they're both the same color. But I take mine, so both of them get used. And one of my sisters got one year before last, and we use it for moving stuff to and from the cabins. Yeah, my sister, who had 2 ankle surgeries because the first one didn't quite get the result that she and the surgeon wanted, so she had to have that redone. So that's why she got the wagon, to make it easier to move stuff to and from the vehicles and to and from the cabin. So yeah, those things are very handy to have. And if I have to bug out of here, I would carry my stuff down the steps. I would carry my wagon, load up the wagon, maybe put a small pack on, my cat in the carrier, and you know, I would hit the road. But I have used my wagon to go pick up a very large package from UPS Access Point. But I also have that Vivor foldable dolly. It only came with one bungee cord, but I got a bunch of bungee cords, so I can use 2 or 3. In fact, I got 3 attached to it, and I just keep those there on that thing. But that's what I do. But right now, those are the only times I get to get out of the city. I don't get to camp as much as I used to because the people I was camping with, life happened. And it just wasn't working out. But who knows, maybe I'll get to camp with some of those people again. I'm hoping to hook up with some others to do things with. That way I can have more options. Yeah, one place I camped, what she and family did was they set up, they they got really fat logs and they just put them into the ground at the appropriate distance for hanging the hammocks from. So they got enough of them placed where there can be like 6 hammocks hanging. And then the big fire pit in the middle. Plus there is a shed that also serves as a workshop, and there's a big barrel stove in there. So if the weather's really bad and it's raining, we just all go hang out in that shed. But it's been a few years since I was there. Then another place is owned by a guy and his family, and they have an area that they invite people to camp on that's near their farm. But we have to pick our hammock spots if we want to hang hammocks or find a place where we can put a tent. I have a winter tent, but I don't have a summer one. I would just use my hammock in the summer. And I have a big enough tarp that I can it'll go almost all the way down to the ground, so I can at least have some privacy when I'm changing clothes. Well, I finished everything I was planned on eating tonight. I think this box is I'm going to put some tape on this corner of this box before I put it away. Now, I do have the pictures on my phone so that I can track in to put up a thumbnail. I would use this part here as a thumbnail. That's what I wanted to use, but it just didn't save this time. I don't know if I can add a thumbnail after the fact. I think there have been some changes with YouTube, so maybe I might be able to do that. But I will put in a description that I ate the cheese tortellini. So that's how I'll handle that. So that will be done after I close out the stream. So next Sunday I will eat that oriental salad and that soup in the salmon pate. I'm looking forward to digging into that. And I may refrigerate that Oriental salad instead of just opening up the can, at room temperature. I may actually try that, see how that works. It'll be a good experiment to do. And I will pull a cold drink mix out of my stash. I could either, most likely from the German ration, that type 5 that I had previous to this one. That was before I had the DAF ration last Sunday. But before that, it was a German one. Or the Dutch, I'm not sure which one. So I'll figure that out for next week. But the 2Ts I've had before, I know what those are like. Then again, I could decide on the cocoa mix and drink that. Or I could do an army mocha with it. I don't know. And I will figure that out for next week. But I'll use the same pictures as far as my my post that I'll toss up earlier in the day, probably Sunday morning. I'll go ahead and toss a post up because unless I get a message or one of my sisters says, no, we're not doing that. We can't do what we wanted to do last week. But we wanted to wait till my mom was feeling better. She was sick last Sunday, so we didn't want to catch whatever she may have had in case she was contagious. So that's why we decided to hold off for 2 weeks. But I should be able to get my stream off in time because we're hanging out with Mom in the afternoon, like midday. At least that's the plan. But if that doesn't work out, I'm just going to contact one of my sisters and say, I take Mom her Mother's Day gift and take my great niece her birthday gift. If I have to do it that way, then that's what I'll do. But we'll just have to see what happens. Yep, that's then the other bars, the mocha energy bar, the chocolate bar, I will pull those out next week. And some of the other biscuits, I'll use the salty biscuits for the soup. Don't have any other spread. So not sure what I'll do with those chocolate chip biscuits. I could look in my stash to see if I have any chocolate peanut spread to put on them. I might do that just for the heck of it. But I got a week to figure that out. I think I'm going to go ahead and call this good for tonight. The beef tortellini was definitely worth it. I'm glad this menu was sent to me. I had not had it before. I'm looking forward to that Oriental salad, see what it's like. So that's what will be coming up next Sunday. Heck, I might even prepare the muesli. Because that chocolate caramel's definitely sounding interesting. But I want to thank all for hanging out with me tonight. If there is a delay in when I go live next Sunday, I'll toss a post up, but I will still try to do it. But I want to thank y'all for watching and chatting. Catch you on the flip side.